baru ini menjadi keharusan. Saya beri contoh misalnya ketika dulu kami di Jakarta, kita mulai dengan mengkonversi kendaraan-kendaraan umum itu menggunakan listrik. Jadi ada dua tahap. Satu mengkonversi publik dari kendaraan pribadi ke kendaraan umum, dan kendaraan umumnya berbasis listrik, sehingga dapat dua-duanya. Satu adalah tentang pengurangan emisinya, yang kedua adalah pengurangan.
I also want to ask you, you have the challenge of managing a complex city like Jakarta and making that sustainable. What lessons can you learn from your experience there?
Sure. Thank you, Yudit, Pak Bambang, Pak Ridwan Kamil, and all participants. It is indeed, the question is not about whether living in a cities or mega city is sustainable. The question is how to make living in the city sustainable. Because you know that the world cities occupy about 3% of the earth, but cities account 60 to 80% of energy consumption and 75% of carbon emissions. That's sort of the one side. But on the other side, cities are also economic engine of the world, and the majority of the population is now living in cities. So we must understand that a fight for climate must also be a fight for better livelihood. And the vast majority of people are still struggling with basic needs. That is what we are also experiencing. And, they come to cities hoping to find better opportunities. Those urbanizations will continue. And therefore, effort to tackle climate change must also be understood by the people as means to improve their livelihood. So we're glad that Jakarta, I'm happy to report here, is on the right track in fulfilling the climate target. 2 years ago, in 2020, Jakarta reduced its greenhouse gas emissions by 26%. And with that pace, we're optimistic that 30% reductions of emissions that is targeted in the year 2030 can be achieved much sooner than expected. Because imagine in 2020, we reached 26%. So we have 8 years to go and more 4% to reach. On the other hand, we are also succeeded in showing our economic resilience by a rebound from its lowest economic growth, negative 2.4% when the pandemic hit us in 2020. And we're back to positive 5.6% in the second quarter of 2022. So if we had to share one of significant progress over the past 5 years, I would say it's a transportation reform. The reform in that sector has produced significant impact. Transport, as we know, produces a significant amount of emissions. And in Jakarta, it contributes the largest share of emissions. It is around 70%. So shifting the public away from cars and motorcycles into public transport and non-motorized transport is one of the best ways to tackle climate issues in cities. And I think this is some of our important lessons. And providing an integrated and reliable public transportation system here in Jakarta, which we produce through a system called Jaklingko, became our priority, and it has made a huge change in our city. So transportation costs was estimated make up about 30% of household expenses. And with the new approach, citizens are now paying only 10,000 rupiah, around 60% in US dollars, to go anywhere in the cities. And in addition to affordability, an integrated public transport system also offers reliability, which increases productivity. And also, there is a positive side impact, which is promote social interactions. So the benefit, not only the community through its reliable services, but also the transport operators, the laborers, and everyone in the ecosystem were experiencing a new ecosystem that made public transport something of their benefit, and people feeling it as something that a new experience that they enjoy. So with this approach, what we are seeing is this. One, the public, we're shifting away from private vehicles into public vehicles. We are reducing green carbon emissions. And on top of that, we are integrating our society. So the technology is there, policy option is there. This is from our experience. What is needed is political will. When there is a political will, it is translated into budget and it is translated into policy actions. Then public started to experience that reform. So that's some of our experience here in Jakarta. Thank you.